Welcome to Guy Aitchison's Reinventing the Tattoo Community, where artists, apprentices, and the curious are encouraged to join in on these live streams, to share with each other, to inspire each other, and ultimately to get better tattoos and art. This is the Monday morning in Eastern Standard Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard, a little bit earlier for Jake Meeks, who's hosting, and wicked early for East Coast. This is a reinventing drawing group where artists are encouraged to join in the conversation by zooming in. Who knows where you're listening from? You might be on the podcast or the YouTube or the Facebooks or somewhere, but the best way to get all of the latest information on all of these live streams and the Zoom link is going to be at the Reinventing the Tattoo Community. This is found at either of the app stores. You can pick your poison, the Google Android Play Store or the Apple App Store, or you can go straight to community.reinventingthetattoo.com. And yeah, you'll see we're streaming out 3 to 7 times a week live. Many events, guys encouraging people to join in, just like this one, that are participatory, but we also have interviews and panels and painting jams and painting seminars, all sorts of great stuff you can find in the library of said community. You know what? I'm going to actually share my screen real quick, and that way I can show you a little bit about what we're talking about. This is the Reinventing the Community. Our event schedule is here, where you can find a variety of the regular streams. Some of the special events include Tattoo, past and present, with Perpetual Roots at 2 o'clock. This is Tuesday, April 20th. That's tomorrow. We also have tattoo collecting podcasts, all sorts of great things here in the events. You definitely want to check out our sponsors. We've got Inkjet Stencils. And you'll see here in their virtual booth, we have all sorts of examples of how you can treat your images on your iPad or your computer and then print them out. This is Andre Malcolm printing up a full back piece here. They sell, Inkjet Stencils sells the paper and the inks that go into the different Epson printers. And Donna has some other webinars. It's pretty awesome. It saves time, money, hands. You can purchase the kits all through the Reinventing the Tattoo app. We also want to thank sponsors Raw Pigments, rawpigments.co, and they are acrylic free and vegan. Once I said vegan free, I'm not even sure what that means, but the full-on vegan. Check it out. They've got the full story here. You can shop, of course, online. And there are samples available if you go to reinventingthetattoo.com/equinox and then fill out the form. You will be sent actually, it's not playing in the background here. Play now. This Equinox show back here, Android Jones did some amazing visuals and Aja Lu did live audio to it. It's pretty awesome. You want to play it big and loud. Anyways, go to reinventingthetattoo.com/equinox. It'll send you the replay link. And then if you scroll down to the bottom of that replay link, you can send your info over after a short questionnaire, and then we will send you a goodie bag that has some raw pigments as well as a whole mess of cartridges from Cheyenne, a little knapsack. It's cool. Little Reinventing the Tattoo goodie bag. Last sponsor, you should be heading to courses.reinventingthetattoo.com. If you're an artist or an apprentice, there's all sorts of professional development there for you, including the Reinventing the Tattoo Canon, which includes Monday night exclusive exercises with Guy Aitchison. Everyone beams in, works on homework, or I guess they're working on the homework throughout the week. They're showing Guy, presenting their homework, and then getting critiques. It's pretty awesome. Also, a new seminar we have here, Andre Malcolm's doing a koi sleeve design webinar. There's this one's going to be live coming up in about a month, but of course all of these are available for replay. There are free lessons for nearly all of these, so if you want to just check out the instructors, some of the free lessons are interviews. But yeah, you can check them out. We've got how to build a Paul Rogers prefab tattoo machine with Tony Urbanik. We've got the Reinventing the Tattoo business class, Bob, BJ Betts. It's pretty awesome. And yeah, we have other affiliates that we want to make sure we shout out. Oh, I can. Oh shit! Let's see if I can do this. Fireside Tattoo. I'm just going to send you to firesidetattoo.com, and from here you could find their Facebook, their Instagrams, their YouTube channels, and their podcasts. We will talk more about this with Jake, and The Apprenticeship Diaries, Apentice, The Apprenticeship, DIAR. Yes, I'm doing this live. I was told not to record this because then it wouldn't be natural. And this is why. If you go to The Apprenticeship Diaries, then you will, or do a search for that, you can find their YouTube or their podcast. And they're awesome. And actually, Amy and Jake had a pretty awesome discussion a couple weeks ago, and I know that Jake is going to put it up as a podcast or a video. I just grabbed the audio, and it's going to be up on the Reinventing the Tattoo podcast pretty soon. We actually have a couple scheduled in advance now. So I'm going to bow out. Just one last plug, Reinventing the Tattoo's YouTube channel. It's brand new, and the Reinventing the Tattoo podcast, also brand new. So even though, everything's, decades old in some cases, although fresh because everything's been updated, these two new channels are new. So please give them a follow, share them around with your friends. And I am going to hop into the background, and we've got Morag from Scotland, and Jason's in the background. Last thing. Let us know in the chat room where you're beaming in from, who you're inspired by. I will have a browser in the background where I could pop stuff up at times. And with that, thanks again, Jake, for doing this, and I'm going to hop out. Oh, and Jake, your audio still is not working. So maybe, Morag, you want to let us know what's going on in Scotland? Well, Jake clicks on the fancy button. For doing this, and I'm going to hop out.
Yeah, brilliant. Hi, everybody. Just getting ready to get back to work after months.
So your audio still is not working. So I believe, Jessica, I believe you're maybe streaming us in the background. Jake clicks on the fancy button. I'm just going to mute you. So Jessica, if you want to just shut the stream off in the background and then unmute yourself at your leisure.
Yeah, perfect. I got you. Sorry about that.
No problems.
My bad, guys.
Oh, good. So, Jake, are you actually back? Or not back? Are you with us? But you're not. Your audio's... No, I can't. Can anybody hear Jake?
No.
Oh, well, this is a good time to thank the Fireside Tattoo Network. We are, in theory, going out on their YouTube. And I'm testing, Christy says, what's happening over here? She's in the Fireside Tattoo YouTube. And... Jake, you got to just keep clicking those buttons on those fancy things. Every once in a while, I'm jealous of all your tech, but not right now. Samara, actually, you said you got back to work?
No, I'm going back next week. So I'm dealing with a mountain of stupid artwork that needs sorted, just appointments and real life stuff that I'd conveniently forgotten existed.
It's, getting back to everything is crazy. We're getting shots over here and stuff, so it's just about time to start traveling again in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, amazing.
And, It's amazing, and it's also a little bit like, oh, man, I'm not so, it's going to be weird. I'm going to try to stick to small stuff for a while. I'm a kind of a small event kind of a person anyways, but then all of a sudden it's going to be full on. Jake, how goes it?
I don't know what the deal is. I don't know what the deal is with this new laptop, but I've had that problem 2 weeks in a row now. It says it's connected, and the audio part of it works. Like I can hear through the headphones. I just can't talk through the headphones. How are you guys?
Good.
I'm good.
Good to see everybody. All right, I'm all set up here now. Yeah, I'm still having. I got a new MacBook, and the thing is awesome. But there are a couple of things I haven't figured out, like how to get my iPad set up as a separate screen so I can draw on the iPad, but haven't figured that out yet. But I'm drawing on the Cintiq today. What's everybody working on this week?
I'm working on a kitsune idea. I'm really just starting, so while you're setting up, I don't know if you can see it. There's not much there yet. The idea is that the paws are quite large, coming onto the forearm, and then above that the face, so you get the iconic bits, and then it's kind of going over the shoulder where all the tails are, so they would fan out and create a kind of pattern. That's the general idea, so that you get the paws and the face, and because a lot of the time when you do a kitsune, you end up with a lot of body, and then all the detail is quite small, and then a crazy massive tail. So I'm trying to think of a way of making it work on the arm that's attractive and a standalone piece.
Yeah. Sweet. So you're just starting to block it in right now?
Yeah, I'm just kind of working out if, if in my mind's eye it works great, but once you draw it on, I've actually already discovered that before shortening might be an issue. So I need to work on that a bit.
Yeah, foreshortening is the hardest thing in the world for
it is.
It's like, especially when you're dealing with like I find myself doing it a lot with like hands reaching out or arms, things kind of reaching forward, and it's just like trying to determine where what a shape looks like whenever you're when like, especially like a forearm is such a complex shape. When you look at it, it could be really simple if you look at it like that, you kind of see one straight side and one hump side or whatever, but when you look at it like that, it has all of these like things that protrude from it. It's such a tough thing to like to cheat. It
is. And sometimes when you look at the real forearm, you think, wow, if I drew that just looking like that, it would look completely wrong. There doesn't seem to be much kind of leeway between what looks right and what looks completely preposterous.
That's exactly true. And then then you'll find yourself so caught up at getting the shape right that you won't like soften the edges or use the other atmospheric stuff to your advantage, and you end up like with too hard of a shape going all the way back. So
this is my issue with this kitsune. So the paws I want kind of crossed over and looking kind of cute. So they'll be at the front, and then the head resting on them. And then obviously the body needs to happen somehow. And if the tails are going up over the shoulder, I can't use them to kind of hide any awkward, like foreshortening flaws that I would normally. I'll just, put one of these tails over here, and then that's that problem solved. But I'm kind of challenging myself a little bit with that. So we'll see how it goes. I might abandon the idea, but I just thought I'd start.
Well, cool. Maybe it'll develop a little bit along the way. What about you, Jessica? Sorry, I'm going to text my wife here. She was just calling me. She knows I'm on this thing. What about you, Jessica? What are you working on today?
The old dagger through the flower tattoo. So I had originally, I'll show you what I guess had drawn up originally. Years ago, I drew up this dagger, this pocket knife going through a poppy flower, and one of my good friends snatched it up, and I had a client message me, and she's like, "Oh, I love that. I want that exactly just like that." And I was like, "Well, I can't do that." Because I just put it on somebody else. So this was like 2 years ago or something like that, I want to say. I don't know exactly. And then she finally messaged me maybe like a month ago, and she was like, "Okay, I'm ready for my tattoo." And she still wanted to get the dagger through the flower, but she was willing to change. Like, she's going to get a sunflower instead. So right now I basically just have it sketched out, and she wants to. She was saying that she wanted to get it on her thigh. But I was feeling like, I don't know, when I first made the initial design, it was too narrow for a thigh. So I was hoping that maybe she would want to move it. But now that I have the sunflower drawn up, I was like, maybe it can go like closer towards her knee. Because a thigh is such good real estate. And normally when I do put things on people's thighs, especially women, it's like I would hope that they would want like a full thigh piece, from like knee to hip. Just because I don't know, I've been tattooing here in this town for almost as long as I've been tattooing, and I've been getting to the point to where I'm running into these pieces that I did earlier when I started, and it's like a smaller piece, and now they're like, "Oh, I want to make this into a whole sleeve," so I've kind of tattooed myself into a corner, if you will. So I've always tried to think of like the whole like body part and tried to design for the whole body part. But, sometimes people either they can't afford to do it, or it's just something that they don't want to do. So we'll see how this fits on the lower part of her thigh, closer towards her knee. If it doesn't fit good there, she's a pretty cool client. Like, she should be able to. It seems like she'd be open to moving it elsewhere, but we'll see once this design is finished. It's still in the beginning stages, but I got to do
Yeah.
it today, so I better finish it up.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've run into that a lot when people either they don't think they want it as big, or they have an idea of a placement and it doesn't fit that place. And so, a lot of times just doing like 2 mock-ups. Of course, if you're doing it today, that makes it tough. But like
Right.
I'll even find like a generic kind of like photo of someone in a bathing suit and say like show all of how awkward something looks, like placed too far down. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
see, we can have all this, but if we did it here, and what I used to tell people a lot, I got this from my buddy David Evans that was on the podcast with me for the first 100 episodes or so.
Yeah.
But he used to tell me like, I used to hear him tell his clients 20 years ago, he would be like, for the same price that I can like line, shade, and color something palm size, I can outline an entire sleeve.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so it's like, so if we might as well start something that you're going to want, and we'll just do it as you can afford it. And so I started using that back then. I thought that was like a great way to describe it, and that's really pretty true. I mean, outside of maybe the time that it takes to stencil a sleeve, you can basically line a sleeve in the same time you can do a finished, hand-sized piece.
Right.
So
for around about the same cost.
Yeah, for about the same cost. So
Yeah.
And a lot of times when people see that, that's another trick that I got actually from Brandon David. Brandon David used to work at Eka Dagger. I think he's somewhere else now, but he when I was tattooing, I did a guest spot at Eka Dagger, and I was drawing, and he was doing a consultation, and he had his client, they were designing a thigh piece, and he was like, will you send me a profile photo of yourself in like 2 or 3 of your favorite bathing suits, or like a dress that a sundress that you wear a lot, so that I can draw, so we can see what it's going to look like where it peaks out, things like that. So I was like, oh, that's a great idea. Then it like, to them, it's super personal, because it's like, oh yeah, I do want it to look good with that outfit or with this,
Right.
Yeah. Cool. I don't have that fireside sweatshirt. Is that one thick or thin?
This one?
Yeah. Is it a thick?
It's a little on the thicker side.
Okay.
But I've worn it to death, so it's getting thinned out a little bit.
Yeah, I've got one of the t-shirt size. It's like a sweatshirt, but it's t-shirt material, and it's not that. It just has like this same logo that I have on my sweatshirt right here. But I wanted a thicker one. We've done some new. The guys from S8 have been doing some new like little quick cuts and intro footage and stuff, and so they've been playing with logos, and they did a cool little thing the other day. I put it in our last episode where it's that same fireside, but the eye is a needle bar, and it just kind of like drops in. And I was like, oh, I love real simple little things like that. And when they sent that over to me, I was like, oh, that's awesome. I love that. I was trying to do it, but turning the F into the little microphone tattoo machine thing, but it was kind of too much. And so he just did it with the eye being a needle bar, which I thought was super crisp and like clean. What about you, Jason? What you working on today?
So I'm actually, this is going to be a painting later today. I'm doing a watercolor seminar with Steph Bastian. And I wasn't quite sure like what was going to be going on as far as like what we were going to be doing in the actual live portion of it, which happens today at 1:30 here. I think it's 7:30 in Copenhagen. So I'm just kind of scrambling and getting this together real quick so I can transfer it over to paper and then start painting it. If there's a live painting component. If not, that's okay, because it's kind of laid out for 2 ornamental, like domed glass little oval frames that I have laying around. I'm going to do one as a chrysanthemum and one as a peony flower. So I can go through and have them kind of like facing opposite directions, right? So this is just the chrysanthemum. If I don't end up painting it today, I'm doing a paint day with a couple of friends next Monday. So I'll sit down and I'll paint it while I'm there with them.
Yeah, sweet. So how will you transfer that to paper? What do you do to make the transfers?
Usually just like a graphite transfer. So I'll take a regular HB pencil or like a big block of like 2B compressed graphite. And I'll just scribble on the back, make sure it's nice and thick, flip that over onto a piece of watercolor paper, trace it again using something like a 2H or a Bic pen, just to get a nice light graphite transfer down.
Yeah.
Then from there, I'll go back through, maybe darken up a couple of spots here or there. You don't want it to be too dark and you don't want too much loose graphite around. So I just use HB, but works pretty well. You know, or I'll just take my piece of watercolor paper, throw this underneath, shine a 100-watt bulb underneath it, or grab one of my old light boxes and you know, just hand trace it.
Yeah.
I was like doing layout digitally first because I went through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different drafts of the mum. All fairly quickly. And then I was playing around with an idea of like maybe throwing a snake in there, scrap that idea. I thought it would just make it too complex, you know. So these are all like the snake concepts I had. So I think I'm just going to stick with something a bit more simple, a bit more refined, and take it from there. Yeah,
sweet. Yeah, that's the one thing, talking about making transfers and keeping it light. You have to get your drawings pretty accurate and pretty minimal before you start laying watercolor over them, so they don't end up all muddy by picking up a lot of graphite.
Right.
I remember watching doing that workshop with Dan Marshall a few years back, and just watching how he lays the landscapes out. And they're like, he uses like a little, probably an HB, but a mechanical pencil. Super, it's probably like a 0.5 or something lead, and just. He never picked his pencil up really. He just kind of like, you know, he just like, first off, he can draw like cows and barns in his sleep without picking a pencil up. I've never seen someone just lay out like a cow so easily, but he can like, he's just like, it's like drawing like cows and then pulling a little shadow shape over from one cow's foot and drawing into the next cow and then pulling that over and then drawing into the barn. And then so everything, he also introduced me through that drawing method, how he thinks about connecting all of his shadow shapes. So like the base of a barn might have a cast shadow that gets super thin and then like works right into the leg of a cow. So it's almost like a jigsaw puzzle of shadow shapes. So everything locks in. And I'd never thought of it. He was saying that like if you end up with too many separate shadow shapes and and your lights and shadows aren't kind of all locked together, that the paintings end up too bitsy is the term that he would use. And so I think about that a lot in tattoos now. I'd never thought about it before that, but I think about it when I'm laying out tattoos now. Things are getting too complex. I'll start to simplify shadows and figure out where they fall into other shadows, and then just kind of abstract the idea, you know, so that like then I'm getting away from drawing the thing and I'm drawing like the way that the shadows all lock together and move through the piece. But yeah, I snagged that from Dan Marshall. It was such a cool, like watching him draw that stuff out was super cool. And you have to like, he's right, it's intimidating. You have to draw it right, because if you start like erasing a lot or making like 4 lines where there should be 1 line, you know, if you can't get like, the thing I would struggle with is like my roof to my barn would be too beefy or too tall compared to the rest of the structure of the barn or something like that. I just don't draw barns all that often, I guess. Or like the door swinging open would be, you know, like the way that it hangs, the angle would be off. So I would draw it 2 or 3 times, and then when I went to paint it, it would get all murky and, you know, dirty.
Right.
But it's
deceptive. It looks so simple when you do that, but it's so accomplished.
Yeah.
Because you need to plan ahead. You need to have a vision of how that's going to look and then abstract it before you even start. You can't start fannying around and then kind of, you know, come up with the best one. It has to be right from the beginning.
It has to be right. Yeah. Yeah, see, look at these cars and how like just the negative. We were driving looking for painting spots. This was before the workshop started. And he just like out the window with his phone, he just snapped. We were downtown Memphis. He just snapped a photo of the Peabody right there. And then he did that as a demo night at my house the day before the workshop started. We just had like 20 people over and had food, you know, grilled out and stuff. And he did a little live demo, and that was it, that piece. But yeah, see, like he could just snap these photos. That's also downtown Memphis. That trolley was there for maybe 10 seconds. It was at a light, and he just basically memorized it. He turned it from red to yellow. It just kind of memorized it and dropped it in.
Love his use of color in that too.
Yeah. I bought everything that he did. I own all these paintings now, so I get to look at them all the time. Yeah, he did the workshop. He went to auction them all off at the end. I got greedy and just bought everything. This one is so cool. It's in my dining room. I love it.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Such a neutral color palette with like,
Yeah.
oh, you can even see it in this too. Very concentrated reds.
Yeah, and the red is gouache, so he'll use all watercolor, and then he'll have a white, a yellow, and a red gouache that he'll use just to do those little punches like that. Yeah, that was cool. If you that workshop was really great. I'd love to get him to do a new one. I know he's like, you know, I'm sure he feels like he's learned a lot since then, because he's done so much more teaching and so many more shows and stuff since that was probably 4 years ago or so, 5 years ago. I don't know. But I'm gonna play your new intro here too. Oh yeah. Boom. See, I like that little needle bar thing. It's like super quick. It's not really meant to be an intro. They wanted to do, they're making these little like 5-second transition cuts, like just to go from A to B, you know, if we're like going from bumpers. The intro to buffers. There you go. Bumpers. Bumpers. Yeah. Bumpers. Yeah. So they made a ton of them, and we're kind of like we're just kind of trying to find a cool feel for them. We're doing them in a lot of like Delta blues kind of music and stuff like that, since I'm out of Memphis. Nice. So a lot of like a lot of deep South kind of like acoustic blues. And then they're into it's Sean Belinda's kids who own S8, or Sean owns S8, but his kids, they're in their 20s, and they both went to film school, and so they're just doing, they're into, I guess it's anime, or they were coming, you know, growing up, they're from that era, and they introduced me to this oh man, Cowboy Bebop. Can you pull that up, Gabe? Do you know that?
Yes.
Yeah. That intro is like super cool. And they're like, what would you think about doing? Because when I was talking about doing these like new little cuts and things, I didn't want it to be like everyone's YouTube that's like super polished, where their logo is chrome and it spins and they like the drop of waterfalls on it. You know what I mean? Like all the like real polished looking stuff. I was like, it doesn't feel right to me. But so they showed me this intro to Cowboy Bebop, and I was like, yeah, dude, I love this stuff. So they let's see. Yeah, this is it. Like all this kind of like text overlay with these 2D kind of cutouts and stuff. And they're like, what if we did something like, you know, tattoo imagery, but more like this style? And I was like, oh, that would be super cool. So that's kind of the stuff that they're working on. You know, yeah. You don't see tattoo shows that look like this.
That's cool.
No, it's a bit like James Bond or something.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, you definitely get that James Bond kind of feel to it.
Right. Yeah. So we're playing. I mean, it's been kind of a simplistic version of that so far, and we haven't done anything like super long, like long intros. But those little cuts and stuff that they're doing are kind of cool, like that. Well, here, let me. You guys don't even want to see what I'm working on this week. You're gonna like think I'm a lunatic. Let me. Let me pull it up though. Anyways, let's see. Go to my OBS so I can show you here. There it is. Can you guys see this that I'm working on?
Oh wow.
Yeah. What was I thinking? So stupid.
Fun with that, man.
Sheet music?
Yeah, it's sheet music. So this is this is a good friend of my assistant, Allie, and she asked if I would consult with her on this piece, and so I did back in the fall. And so it's like a specific piece of music. I got the lady's a musician, and there were some parts of it that she really wanted highlighted, so I focused on particular like measures or whatever. And then they're both also into rope. They, you know, like I don't think you're supposed to call it bondage, I don't know, but they're tying like
shibari.
What is it?
Shibari.
Okay, well, they're both into that. So they were sending me specific types of ties, knots, and things like that. Like, and so so the idea was just that was to combine those two elements. But this is just my mock-up. I have to do it on Wednesday. But yeah.
That looks like a total nightmare.
Oh my God, yes. it's
I
going to
mean,
be.
what you have so far is, I think that's a really good like starting point. But yeah, that's a tall order.
Thanks. Yeah, it's going to be what I'm going to do is she gave me some reference that's like really like kind of weathered old music. So like the pages are yellowed and tattered and torn, which I haven't done any of that. So I'm hoping I can use that to like to smudge and like not really have to be too accurate on the actual music, where I can like kind of wash it in and then color over it and then pull pieces of it back out and just do it over a couple of sittings where the music looks like it's almost worn off the pages a little bit, so it doesn't have to really be all in there. That's my goal, at least.
Yeah, whatever you can do to kind of save yourself from
going crazy.
Yeah.
Going crazy. Yeah, absolutely. It's gonna be a project. So we'll see. I get to play with the lining ability of my new Numa 4. See how it does.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting a feel for lining quickly, doing like quick passes of lines with it, using some of the one of the really punchy cams. And so I'm hoping I can just like zip through this thing super fast. We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, I like your optimism, Jim.
Yeah.
Well, you got to go into it like that, right?
Right. Yeah. We'll see. It'll turn out fine. I'll probably find ways to lay more rope over it. I really wanted to lay something softer, like some vegetation or something into it as well, and I may end up doing that. She didn't act like super crazy about that idea, but maybe if I lay it in there and make it look nice,
Yeah, just to put it out there, if you have to start, it was 100%. I have no idea. You might, if you ever have to start a conversation or a sentence with like, I know you're not supposed to use this word.
Don't use the word.
Well, you might at this point where we're beaming out. You might go to Google, hit thesaurus, figure out the word.
That's why I keep you around me, Gabe. That's great advice. You're absolutely right.
Hang on a second. I gotta turn my heater off. It's super loud. Hang on.
Yeah.
Eric, so Eric just beamed in. Eric, you want to turn your camera sideways?
What's going on, Eric?
Perfect. There we go. That's great. I'm gonna get press record tattooed on one of my fingers. Maybe turn the camera sideways. It'll go on the other.
It will go on the other. Can you make that work as a little knuckle banger? Yeah. What are you working on? Well, we'll let you get set up there. We'll see what you're working on.
I'm running behind you.
No problem. I actually don't have any place to be at a particular time today. I get my second round of vaccine at 11 a.m. my time, and so I'm going to go to the gym after that. I think that's a better idea. Everyone says that their shoulder's so sore. My shoulder was kind of sore after the first one, but I think if I go work out after getting a shot, I'll maybe not be so sore. Has anyone else had a second round of of any of the vaccines?
A lot of my clients have. I personally haven't.
Yeah. I'm a little nervous.
That sounds really fast. I was told 12 weeks between shots.
It's been 3 for me. That's the way they scheduled it. I don't know.
Yeah, 3-4 weeks.
My wife got her second dose last Wednesday, and she was fine. But I've had several friends who got kind of like flu-like symptoms for a few days, which fingers crossed that doesn't happen because I'm tattooing the next 3 days. I definitely don't want to start this like music piece feeling like I have the flu. That'd be horrible.
Shivering.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I was kind of fortunate. I got the Johnson & Johnson 1 shot before before all that stuff happened.
Yeah.
And the day I got it, I was fine. The day afterwards was no fun.
Mm-hmm.
So
the one thing, Jason, though, actually, so I was golfing yesterday with 2 people. One guy who's actually a chemical biologist. He already had a second dose. It's mandatory for where he works. He was going over the statistics about it, because everyone's talking about the blood clots and everything. That's 7 cases in almost 7 million, vaccinations. That's
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 don't get me
one
wrong,
in,
I'm not worried.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's something I wouldn't be worried about. But the other guy that I was actually, who's also in my group, he is just got done Thursday. He had his first dose, and I tell you what, dude, he had like post-nasal drip. He said he had body aches. I'm like, why are you golfing then, dude? Like, why are you out here? You should be resting, dude. I mean, but that was, so yeah, his was about 3-4 days after he got his vaccination. He started feeling kind of achy, and he had the
Pfizer.
Moderna,
Oh,
no, the other one.
yeah, Moderna. Yeah. I had Pfizer. Yeah, we'll see. I'll know by this time tomorrow, I guess. So,
Well, the main thing is power through it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I mean, just hydrate. That's the key thing, is literally overhydrate, and that'll help you get through most viral, anyways. Period. Hydrate. I did have a question, Gabe. I'm the one that messaged you on Tattoo Now. So I'm still trying to find that Ralph. What's his name?
Yeah, he pulled it.
Did he? No.
You just got to like email him directly and be like, please.
Like, I'll PayPal guy, man. We just we've looked at a bunch of his work, myself and another artist, JD.
He's fucking phenomenal.
He's really good. Really good.
So
let's pull him up.
We'll pay him. You know what I mean? Like, I'll give him the money.
Oh, I know.
What did he pull down? He had a seminar?
A webinar, yeah.
Oh, why? Well, it was with reinventing,
or
an older tattoo
now, but it was like forever ago.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, I saw his seminar at the Portland Worldwide conference was really good. That's where I was first introduced to him, actually.
His paintings are fucking, like, his tattoos are obviously fucking crazy.
Yeah,
but his paintings are 3 or 4 steps, because it's he does a lot of like micro paintings.
Yeah, they're all of it's so good, crazy good.
It's at one of our events.
Oh yeah.
Who's that old man with a who is that man?
Look at that.
Sorry, Bob.
Yeah. Something
old.
Really nice. Yeah. Yeah, he's awesome. I thought he did a great job on his seminar. And I'm always impressed with people who, if English isn't their first language and they come to America, or anything's not their, whatever, they're doing seminars in a language that's not their first language. It's always seems like the most intimidating thing in the world to me.
It does. It's easy because obviously a lot of tattooers are a little apprehensive about it.
Yeah.
But for the most part, by the time that you're teaching a seminar, if you know English, you know the right words, you speak, smarter than most of the English-speaking people.
Right.
But it's hard to convince them of that sometimes.
Yeah. You're probably much more likely to stick to the script too. My problem with seminars is I think I'm going to wing everything and then I fumble.
Yeah.
So Eric, what are you working on today? I don't think we saw yours, did we?
Oh, dude, if you've seen what it is, you'd be like, why are you doing that?
Oh man, well, are we working on the same piece?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sweet. That's cool.
I told her it's not going to be that much. It's just skin doesn't do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, if you give me a time and post, I can edit your the photo to make it look like this, but it was not like that.
Yeah. I forget who it was I was talking to, but they were like wanting some super bold black and their client was wanting some super bold black and gray piece, and came back in for their second sitting and was asking why their piece didn't look like this piece that was in their Facebook feed or Instagram feed or whatever. And the artist was like, here. And he got his phone out, snapped a photo, desaturated it, pushed it up, was like that. You want it to look like this? There you go. Post that. Yep. This is what your tattoo looks like now.
Please post that.
Right. Yeah.
She sends me a bunch. She's got a lot. She sends you obviously, I'm sure you've had many clients send you I want the fireworks scene. You know what I mean? And I want like
Yeah.
the illumination colors. Like, dude, maybe someone's out there, but I'm not that artist, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, there has to be compromise in tattooing. And some stuff you can cheat. You can trick your way just by making everything else around it a lot darker, or muting some colors to make others look brighter. But
just go bigger. You want to do a fireworks scene? Just do your whole bodysuit.
right, just a giant bodysuit of fireworks.
It'll look like fireworks from across the street.
That sounds worse than what I'm drawing right now. The bodysuit of fireworks.
What do you got? Was that sheet music you got?
Oh yeah, it's terrible. I was before you came on, I was telling them it's a close friend of my assistant, Allie, and it's something that I absolutely would have turned down, or wouldn't have even taken the consultation, because it's just not. Yeah, it's not something that is interesting or something I think that I'd be that good at, but yeah, I took it on. So, I mean, I will be good at it. I can make it work. It's just that it doesn't interest me all that much. I will get the opportunity to like make it soft and painterly, and like I'll play with some textures in the paper and some strong kind of cast shadows and try to make the rope. I was playing with this idea earlier. I pulled up Jason, we've talked about this dude before, or I know we've talked Rich Wren. Do you guys know Rich Wren? So he does some cool rope, and like stylized rope where it'll have like little pieces of the rope, like frayed
coming off of it.
Yeah, little like frayed pieces kind of coming off. And so I thought about doing the sheet music and stuff more realistic, and then doing the rope kind of super stylized with kind of Rich Wren's, with something like Rich Wren style.
Sure.
And I may still do that. I don't know. Like I said, this is just my first mock-up. And one thing for sure.
I'm actually getting together with him and Brian Donovan, who are both pretty local to me, next Monday, and we're all going to sit down and paint.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
So
maybe I'll go live. Who knows?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Rich is awesome. He's a great guy, and and man, he's a workhorse. Like anytime I don't know if you've been in any shows with him, but he has like piles and piles of drawings of Flash, just like red pencil drawings, just stacked.
See his studio, man.
Oh, I bet.
His studio, it's filing cabinets and piles and folders, and he's just like, oh yeah, I've got those around here. Yeah. Oh, octopus, here, hold on. Yeah, here's a folder.
That's awesome.
And it's like you're just flipping through, and this is all stuff that like he sat down and he wanted to do some studies of octopuses, and where he had an appointment coming up and he wanted to really be prepared and really get a good idea for flow. So we would do like 3 or 4 different mock-ups.
Yeah.
Octopi, man. Octopi.
Yeah.
Octopi. Thank you.
Octopies.
Super impressive. And he also is crazy fast. He'll do those, like, those pieces have a lot going on in them. And I've seen him do like 3 or 4 of them in a day at a show. He can just like motor through these big, intricate tattoos. And so he's really good. But plus he wears the same bicycle hat that I wear. Really strange. He's the only other person I've come across in tattooing that wears the bicycle hat.
I forgot my hat today, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I try to never forget mine. Sometimes.
Yeah.
If I freshly buzz my hair, I can get away without it. Otherwise, no luck.
So I have to rock the mohawk. That's about all I can do. So.
Yeah. Morag, have you made any progress on your foreshortening?
I got carried away. I thought maybe some ginkgo leaves would help. But,
Yeah.
I know it's cheating, but it kind of needs something, especially if I'm going to go color. It needs a contrasting color. So it's kind of veered off in a much more girly direction than I initially thought. So, but I'm running with it. We'll see how we get on.
And just using tricks. Like if you're going to use leaves, use some, vary the size, use some big ones in the foreground and some softer, smaller ones in the background, and like use all the elements to try to reinforce something moving back. Like exaggerating the
Yeah, yeah,
perspective
no.
a little bit, and that may help.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's all right. I'm not in love with it yet, but things could change.
Right. How is it that I'm sitting here? I laid this out in this drawing of mine out in Procreate, and I pulled it over to Photoshop now. But how is it that Procreate's smudge tool is so much better for a $9 app or whatever than Photoshop's? You know what I'm talking about? Like, it's crazy how much like it Photoshop's always lags. Mine's not right now, but it just made me think about it. It's like the one in Procreate is so much better. And I pay like $900 a year for this Creative Cloud Adobe thing, and I paid $7 or whatever for Procreate.
Yeah, Procreate wins, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
What edition of Photoshop do you have? I paid $10.
The latest. I use Creative Cloud, so I'm always updating to the latest edition. And I have mine's doing fine right now, but I have this brand new MacBook that's only a week old, so everything's working. But my older MacBook, which wasn't even that old, it was like a 2017. Every time I would use the smudge tool, it would I would get the spinning wheel of death while it thought about how to smudge.
You get the M1 chip on your new MacBook?
Yeah, I did.
It's awesome. It is.
Yeah, so far it's been great. I haven't had any glitches at all. I've been editing video in just to test. I normally don't shoot in 4K, but I did some intros in 4K, and I didn't have to create any kind of proxy or anything. I can just scrub through and edit 4K video in Premiere. It's brand new, so I don't know. We'll give it some time, but so far so good. I really like it.
Dude, I've had it for a while now. And that's honestly, I think that's probably why Apple stocks are kind of dropping, because they're releasing obviously the new one here soon, and it's literally no upgrade from last model.
Really?
The M1 chip, they just can't capitalize. I mean, that's why they booted Intel. It's like, oh, we can make a better processor. They did. Their downside is they can't make a better one to sell to the new,
Right.
So yeah, I mean, getting ones, that's why investors are like, oh great, so people aren't going to be buying it because they'll just be buying the last model. It's the same as the new model,
right? Yeah, I mean, I was impressed with how, I mean, this MacBook was, I don't know how much cheaper, but it was definitely less expensive than the one I bought in 2017 with this chip.
I think I have the 13, and I think I paid like $1,400.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah,
I upgraded the RAM and the storage a little bit. Yeah, I paid something like $1,400, and then they gave me like $450 for my old MacBook on trade-in. So it turned out to be like $1,000. Not too bad.
Would you get it from Best Buy? Or you went to
I ordered it. They shipped it. I didn't go to the Apple store. I just did it through, I just did it on apple.com.
Yeah, I had an issue with this iPad, and they're like, oh, we'll create your ticket. Just got to go all the way up to Rochester. So I'm in an area of like 10,000 in our little, and there's like 260,000 in Rochester. And I'm going in line, and there's people. Dude, that's the only place that was even busy in that mall. And I'm waiting in the line. I'm like, man, I thought I had an appointment, dude. So I waited for like 2 hours. People next to me that's got like 7 masks stacked all over each other. I'm like, you're an idiot. And then I get like, oh yeah, we can't do anything. We don't have anything to upgrade. So sorry, you have to go and call the customer service. Yeah, they screwed me. I was a little upset about that.
Yeah, that sucks. See, they wouldn't even let our Genius Bar. None of that was even open. It may be now, but for the longest time, I couldn't even go in and do a support ticket at all. It had to be online. They just didn't have the stores open, and so I didn't even try this time. I'd ordered a new phone through just through the website or through the mobile site or whatever, and so I just did the same thing for the MacBook. Yeah, and it worked fine. Like they sent me an empty box to send my old one back in. It came with instructions on how to clear it and reset it to factory and all that. So it wasn't bad. Yeah.
It's a pain.
Yeah. But yeah, so far I do really like this M1 a lot better, especially for video editing. I don't
like the actual camera on, but I do like the fact that you can Zoom or whatever that, or the multicam, you can run 4K. Well, Jay knows about it, but you can actually plug your camera and literally run it right through the Mac. So your screen will pop up on the Mac of everything that the camera's seeing.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of point and shoot, which I obviously I'm not advanced enough to know how to do that. That's why I'm on my phone.
Right.
And I'm in a hurry. Actually, my appointment's sitting outside waiting, but it's not 10 o'clock yet.
Yeah. I use the only thing about these is they just have the two little Thunderbolt whatever ports, and so I need to upgrade my what do you call the whatever like the what do you call like the blocks that have like all the extra USBs and stuff, like an extension kind of block or whatever. I have a pretty nice one from Best Buy, but it has like 3 USBs and an HDMI and a couple of SD card readers or whatever built into it. But I need one with far more USBs, and I don't even think they make one. I'm looking at all the highest end ones on Amazon. They don't make them that have multiple HDMI outs where I can feed like 2 monitors or have one, 4K camera coming in.
Right here,
Yeah,
they got
something like that.
What you would need is a video switcher for that.
But does that mean I can only get one feed at it? I can't have both of them going at once?
No,
Like, do I have
with a good high grade video switcher, you should have multiple outs and multiple ins.
Okay.
So you could take, say, a dual camera feed, plug all of that in, and then it would just have like one USB-C connection over to your computer.
Okay. But I would be able to pull both of those up. They wouldn't like necessarily like, so if I had if I had my 4K camera that had an HDMI in, and then also my Cintiq that had HDMI in, both of those things would work at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna order one of those today then.
Jay's way more than me. I just picked this up when I got mine. And it works. It's pretty good. I places it, but yeah, it's kind of like 2 USBs in it.
Yeah, mine's about like that. It's a long narrow one, but the same thing. And there's like 3 USBs, basically the exact same setup as that, just all in one long bar.
Bought the plug-in one that goes on the side?
I have one of those too. It doesn't have quite as much. I have that up at the studio. The one that goes on the side. This one actually, your laptop sits on it, so it sets your laptop up a little bit at an angle, almost like, you know what I mean? It like it has a little divot for the laptop to sit in, and so all of the connections are on the back side of the laptop, which I thought would be cool, but that's kind of a pain too because you have to walk around the laptop to find where to plug everything in. But
yeah, the reason why I went with this one that has a little cable to it is I've actually broke the side of my MacBook with the one, because I put my arm down like this and I snapped it. So it's hanging off the side. Side. And I'm like, I'm not in. So I bought this one so I can stick it around the back of it when I'm working.
Right. Yeah. I've worried about that on mine. It's that style as well. I haven't done that, but that, and then also you pick up the Apple Pencil makes me think of it. I have the older iPad where you have to plug the pencil in the bottom of it to charge, and how I haven't broken that off is beyond me. It's all bent up.
I have the Gen 4. I actually I like the real estate of like the Gen 1, Gen 2s. I like bigger bezels, more hand. I just don't like the fact that it's literally an inch smaller all the way around pretty much.
Oh,
the new 12.9s. Yeah. Working area. It's still the same visual 12.9, but this one has like the top bezel. Like, well, if you got the older ones, it's got the top on the bottom. So you have a little bit more thicker.
Yeah.
So I like this one. That's why that and this one's almost dead. I'm gonna give it to the kid, like I was saying in the other video. He wants this one. That's why I got the other one.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Luckily, I've kept this one out of my son's hands for the most part. My iPad. We have so it's ridiculous. I know when all this stuff first came out, phones and iPhones and iPads and all that, I thought I would just like buy one and then that would be it. And it's amazing the number of like iPads that we have laying around, or old phones. I thought for a little while I was going to set up multiple old iPhones as like different camera angles in the studio just to have B-roll while I'm tattooing or stenciling or whatever. And so I started going around the house and just collecting old iPhones. I've got a stack of them. There has to be like 8 old iPhones. And of course, none of them work. I can't unless they're just constantly plugged in, I can't really use them to get B-roll or anything. Half of them have like smashed screens or whatever else, but it's just crazy the electronic garbage that we accumulate.
Yep.
Oh, I agree. My kid's pretty good at, my oldest is pretty good at this stuff. So he gets it from me. I was pretty bad when I was younger. He has a temper. And, oh, Dad, I broke my phone. Can I get a new one? Shit. There's a stack of broken screens at the house. Yeah.
I was going to see if I had anything else drawing related. So since it's supposed to be a morning drawing show, not a morning technology show. That's cool. I wonder if I can share a few of these photos. I did block in a new piece that I think I was drawing on last week, or actually a couple of weeks ago that I was drawing on. Maybe I'll send a few of those over if I can airdrop them to my screen here. Let's see. No one nearby to share with. There you go.
Oh,
Isn't that sad? It's like my phone and laptop are only 6 inches away from each other. How could they possibly recognize each other? I wonder if I can just like pop up my phone. Nah, probably not. That's not a great way to do it. I have been working on like a new way to block in my sleeves though really quickly so the client feels like we're getting something done. And I thought these pieces were kind of a good example. Let me just give me 1 second. Let me see if I can figure out how to send these. How did Jason? Did you do your drawing group yesterday? How did it go?
went pretty well. You know, just discussed you know, some basic things about, you know, basic philosophies on ways in which you can look at different things that happen as you're, you know, coming up and learning through an apprenticeship, and how, you know, we get so stuck in the mindset that failure is a negative thing, but in fact, it's actually a very positive thing, you know, because without failure, how can we learn? How can we go through and realize what we need to work on, what we need to learn more of? You know, it's something that I find is, you know, well, and our culture in general just looks at failure as a negative thing. But, you know, if you look at what positives can come from it, and you look at every time that maybe something doesn't go as planned as a learning experience over, you know, a failure per se, even though failure is not a negative thing. You know, as long as you look at it from a positive aspect and say to yourself, okay, well, what can I learn from this? Then, you know, it's never negative. It's always a positive, because you're always taking something away from it and you're always learning something new from it.
Yeah. I literally agree with you, man. I tell it to my kid all the time. He's, like I said, he's a terrible loser. And he wants to win in everything. We played putt-putt the other day. Now, I've been golfing for a very long time. I'm a single-digit handicap, and we're playing putt-putt, and he actually thinks he has a chance. You know what I mean? And when he lost, I mean, he was like literally irate, pissed off, crying. And I'm like, listen, bud, like, one, your expectations are way too high. It takes years and years of practice to be able to get really good at something. And even then, every failure, and I kind of broke it down like this, is if you think you look at a bar, it's 8 feet in the air, and you're like, oh, it's impossible to hit. But every time you jump and every time you fail, that you're getting closer to getting that goal, because you're building muscles that you require to get there. So every time you fail, you're actually succeeding in a way. And I try to get it through them to, you know, to understand that everything, like drawing, expects to get down and start drawing and do draws. Like, dude, I've been drawing since I was younger than you. You know, and I've got 40 more years experience than you'll ever have.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree that every time you do something, you fail. It's not a failure. You're actually in the right direction to succeed. So
I might
Yeah.
just propose
Yeah.
that anytime you use the word like always or whatever, there's definitely lessons that you could learn where, you certainly may have, you're learning stuff, but might not necessarily come out, stronger. The saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, unless it maims you, makes you a little weaker, but smarter, mostly whenever I hear the words always and stuff, I'm like, there's definitely some examples of lessons that, well, I don't know. Anyways, I might just put that forth as a talking point.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Let's see.
me personally, like the example you put forth of the 8-foot bar, right? I know that every single time I would try to jump to grab that bar, I know I would never reach it. So what would I do? I would think outside the box and I'd go and grab a ladder and climb the ladder and grab the bar, right? Because being as short as I am, man, that is a physical impossibility. Okay. No, even if I could jump Michael Jordan height, I still wouldn't be able to touch it.
But no, I mean, I don't.
But you're right. I agree with you in that. Like it's a learning experience, and you take something away from it every time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're building. I mean, the more you do something, whether you're succeeding in like practically anything, you're trying to draw the perfect circle. How many perfect circles do we draw without Procreate to hold and create it for us? And even then, it still gets it messed up most of the time. But the more you practice that movement, I mean, there's a video online of some teacher who stands up and goes, whoosh, and
it's a perfect 360-degree
I'm like,
circle. Yeah, I've seen that.
I personally, I hate you, but I mean, there's practice. The guy didn't just say, oh, look, my shoulder joint works 100% 360. I mean, he probably was practiced a lot in his dorm room, through college while everyone else was out partying.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. Right here, I got this pulled up that I started last week. Let's see, let's switch over to my OBS. There you go, virtual cam. Does that do it? Yeah, that does it. All right. I don't know if I can zoom in on these, but these are intentionally I sent like 72 DPI images.
Actually, can you real quick, Jay? Can you zoom in so that the graphic takes up your screen right now? I'm looking at a lot of rainbow.
Yeah, I know. I let's see.
Unless you can't, never mind.
I have it open as this separate windows.
No problems.
Yeah, sorry. I think it's enough to get a basic kind of idea, but what I started doing with some of these, and looking at it like this, you can't tell it quite as well, but rather than what I've always done with big pieces is I'll find something that's like my darkest area and I'll make it black, and I'll work with like straight blacks first. And what I've started doing these last little while is just using like my medium gray. Outside of in this dude's hair, there's a big cover up in his head, but besides that, I've just been trying to simplify the shapes as much as I can and figure out big areas of light and big areas of dark, and just blast through them. So I did all of those outside of what you can tell is kind of healed, like his face and the sleeve. I laid all that out in one sitting. Not the lines. I did the lines in another sitting, but all the gray I laid out just in one sitting. So it goes super fast using a medium gray, so you can screw up and not feel like like you're not going to go too dark because it's all going to heal fairly light, but it's dark enough for me to look at it and squint and be like, okay, I want to make sure that to push this darker or not to go any darker right there. It gives me a quick little snapshot whenever I take it down to thumbnail size, and I make sure that I'm leaving enough straight up skin early on. So I'm basically only shading the darker half of the value scale, only the shadow shapes, leaving the light shapes completely light, and just trying to take the complex subjects and not overly render them too early, just trying to quickly block in the shapes of them. Because you can tell in this piece, there's a lot happening. There are a lot of characters fighting in the foreground, this big dude in the background.
Is that the addiction sleeve you were going to work on?
Yeah, it's the this dude's a doctor. It's the that guy is the Greek godfather of medicine. I forget his name. And then he's kind of overseeing this Trojan battle. It's like Trojans fighting Persians. And this is the one where I was talking, I think I brought it up. I was trying to figure out how to create a better story from it. So he wanted water and he wanted architecture. So rather than just having the figure, the god of medicine kind of looking over the battle, I have him, you can tell on the inner bicep, I have him like reaching his hand out and he's blocking. So there's water crashing kind of around the architecture on his deltoid and behind his head. And then and then his hand is actually diverting the water where it's like, it's diverting it around the Trojans, kind of protecting them. And it's actually, I don't have a photo of the back of the arm, but there are some Persians that are washed up in it. So he's like directing the water towards the Persians, that's sweeping them away and away from the Trojans, kind of protecting them. So I was trying to create kind of a, like a little bit of a narrative with that. Originally, his hand was holding the medicine symbol, whatever it's called, the two snakes. Yeah, caduceus. Originally it was holding that, but I just didn't like it all that much. So I changed it where it was kind of redirecting the water. But more than what I was trying to show, more than just what the sleeve was about, is just trying to like quickly blast over it. Because like we finished this session and I've done a sleeve on his other arm, and we finished the session. He was like, holy shit, man, we were blasting through this sleeve. We're making so much progress. And I love when people feel like that, And so I didn't feel like I had to render all that much. I could just go through the medium gray, blast over the entire thing. And it gives me enough of a snapshot to know, like, to make sure that I've got a good balance of dark and light shapes, So
do you explain this to people while you're doing it? That this is what you're doing? So, because I would worry. I mean, it's a great way of doing it. I would just worry that they'd go home and go, oh, it's looking a bit crap.
Yeah, I did tell him that it's going to be layers and that we're using medium grays through the entire thing. So he's prepared that it'll heal lighter. And I explained that basically that same thing, that I was like, I just want to make sure with all the stuff that's going on in this sleeve that it doesn't get too chaotic and too busy where no one can tell what's going on. So I need to make sure that all the major shapes are clear and simple. So like all those dudes fighting at the bottom are kind of in shadow outside of the strongest highlights where, like maybe where light will be catching their armor and stuff, but they'll be all shadow. And then the bend of his arm, the ditch, is basically water crashing out. So it'll be almost skin tone, so we'll have like the simple shapes, even though you won't know what it is, you'll be able to tell that there's like balance, dark and light balance, I think, whenever it's finished. So, yeah.
You need to have understanding clients that are willing to tell their spouses and their friends and everything what's going on as well. So. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think it'll look in progress, but it'll look presentable, whenever it's settled in. So, and then I can just layer right over the top of it. So
brilliant. I love layering over half, healed grays.
Yeah,
it's really satisfying. I might try this.
It's great for me. I think, like I said, I've just played with it on a few pieces now. This is probably the third full sleeve that I've tried this approach with, and it seems to me that I'm able to to kind of control the overall, or understand better the overall kind of light and dark shapes much faster than if I were to go through and finish, fully render, black and gray render a chunk of it this session. And then, because really, I probably would have just gotten the forearm fully laid out, in black and gray, if in the same amount of time that it took me to lay out the entire arm quickly like this, just kind of scrubbing in all those shapes. And then a lot of times I'll end up, I don't know, it ends up disconnected for me whenever I do it that way. If I'm trying to render too much in one area and another area is just wash lined, I end up kind of disconnecting the shapes and stuff like that. So
that makes sense. And it must be so satisfying when you put the proper blacks in at the end. Right.
Yeah. You come through and really kind of saturate towards the end. I haven't gotten that far yet, but the reason I used to, here, I'll cut off of that. The reason that I used to, or have always used my darkest darks first, is I used to have the problem of my tattoos being too light. Like I was afraid to go dark. And so I started forcing myself to find the darkest area and make it black so that I could, so that I was forced to work with the full value range to the rest of the tattoo. But I don't have that problem anymore. I've fixed that over the years. I know how to go dark where I need to go dark. So I felt like I was still kind of making up for a weakness that I had 15 years ago that I just don't have anymore. And there's no reason to approach it like that. So for me.
So that's good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think for a lot of people, it's important to go dark first. If you're one of those people that struggle to like get a full value range, and you end up with tattoos that are like light and washy and uninteresting, but
Mhm.
yeah.
That's a really cool approach. I've definitely done that just in like sketches and like drawings and stuff like that. Just lay a whole mid-tone across the areas that aren't on the light side.
Mhm.
It's definitely a lot faster. Like I find myself getting through like the studies and sketches like way faster, but I've
Yeah.
never actually thought about applying it to a whole sleeve. But yeah, I could imagine it's probably to the client, it seems like you're probably getting a whole lot more done.
Yeah.
And you're not, like you said, you're not finishing one little section at a time. I've been doing some bigger pieces lately, and you take however long, 4 to 6 hours, and you got this little chunk finished, and you always kind of feel bad sending people away like that. If you're kind of wondering
Yeah.
in your head, like, man, do they feel like we've gotten a lot done? Because like I know I did as much as I can in this session, but like, and they seem stoked, but like, are they going to go home later and be like, man, I spent all this money and I just got this little chunk done? So that's actually
Yeah.
a really good idea. I've just never I never thought about doing that like
Yeah,
on a full sleeve or anything. It's pretty
I-
clever.
yeah, thanks. I completely agree. Whenever a lot of times I'll end up rendering and sculpting and working in an area, and then I think about the times that like I spent the entire session on the back of their tricep or something like that, or on the back, so they can't even see it. And here they drop, they sat all day, dropped $1,000, and they can't even see what we got done. That's a hard pill to swallow. And like you're saying, like a lot of times they'll, or they trust you, so they're happy with it. But I've had plenty of times where I can tell people we finish the day and they look at it and they're like, so how many more sessions do you think? And that's always like the key to me, where they're like,
how many more?
Am I going to be here? Am I spending $20,000 more dollars?
No, I've gotten that before too, man. It's always just like, man, it's like I'm going as fast as I can without like rushing,
Yeah.
So that's great though. That's a really good idea, because I have done that, and it does, to me anyways, when I'm drawing, it does seem like things go faster. So hopefully that's I'll try that out.
I do have some feedback or posts in the chat rooms here. So Caroline Evans, who's beamed in a couple times, says good morning.
Good morning.
She was laughing, thinking about how amazed she hasn't snapped her iPad pen also.
Yeah, no doubt.
Then throughout the failures are the bricks in the road to success. Again, unless it fucking takes you out and becomes the road to the fucking gutter.
Yeah.
It should be. Again, I guess part of it is you need to, like, you can't, it feels like to me that you can't get through it without having that attitude. But on the other hand, having that attitude does not guarantee that you'll make it fucking through anything. Nature doesn't, in my opinion, it doesn't seem like nature actually gives a fuck. Okay, let's see. From the Fireside Tattoo Network YouTube chat room, Christy says, what's happening over here? She's in Ontario, which is still shut down.
Yeah.
Amy says, where am I? Oh, nice. So I guess she figured out where she was.
Nice. Good job, Amy.
Woohoo. Micah Myers says, I have a couple machine technique related questions. Any chance I could jump in? And it looks like you asked a couple here, but you can always jump in by going to the Reinventing the Tattoo community. It's either in the app stores or community.reinventing the tattoo. And then on the event link, on the event schedule, there'll be the link. And if we just post it out to the YouTubes or whatever, then all the spammers get it. And all of a sudden there's like crazy shit going on and no one's happy with that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Looks like Jason helped a little bit with some Procreate here on the forums. Thank you, Jason.
Jason's on the ball.
Adam Lee says, what do you use to carry your iPad home to and from work? Do you guys have any cases or anything that you use?
Man, mine is still just like, I don't have anything on it. It's just a straight up iPad. I put it in a backpack.
You're a madman.
I know it. It's crazy. Yeah, it's just like, I don't even have one of the protective sheets or the thing that goes over your pen tip. I'm still drawing like ballpoint pen on glass style. I've never even gotten one of the.
Oh man, what you have? There's tips. There's things that go over the tips of the.
Yeah, I think so. That's what I see. That's what's popping up on my social media feeds these days.
Man. I need to get me one of those.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I
so,
really
like
should
you said,
too.
it's like drawing with like a pen on marble. It's so slippery.
Yeah.
And I've gotten the protector, but it's still, I'm definitely not as comfortable drawing on this as I see most people are. So
Yeah.
I would love. I'm gonna have to look
Speaking of
that
that
up.
texture, Joseph in the Fireside Tattoo Facebook, which we're going out on, says, "Damn, I'm still doing drawings with pencil and paper. Lots of laughter."
Me too.
Man, dude,
do,
you
yeah.
got to join the digital club. Now, that's not true. You should stick with pencil and paper. Someone's got to hold it down. I've been going back to pencil and paper and drawing more and more that way. I told you guys the last few weeks about how I've changed my process where I'll mock it up on the, do my first layout on the iPad and then like draw it full scale on tracing paper. I've really enjoyed it. And I think my eyes appreciate drawing on paper and not staring at the screen for a little while. The machine questions the person was asking if they could ask. I get more. I get a lot of machine questions because we do machine reviews and stuff like that on the show. But it's funny how people will say like, "Hey, what are your thoughts on the new such and such?" Like I get a shipment of every machine that comes in that's introduced to the world,
and you get to use them like right away and test them out. And you're like, my clients are actually my test subjects.
Yeah, exactly.
You should just start reviewing them. You should just
start telling them what I think. It's
great.
I do love it though. Like I love that people just like that they think, and I don't mean it to make fun of anyone, but I get them constantly where they just assume that like not only am I familiar with the manufacturer, but I've used the machine too. Yeah. And, the same thing with inks. If I say, like, I posted something about raw pigments, trying out those inks, and they're like, people are asking me how they compare to all these other inks. And it's not like, how do they compare to Eternal or how do they compare to Fusion, like stuff that we've all used. It'll be like some crazy ass ink name that I've never even heard of. Like, oh, really? What do you think about them compared to, I don't know, I can't even come up with the name. I'm like, man, I have never even heard of that ink you're talking about. Maybe that's the point. Maybe they're trying to show me that they know some inks that I don't know. That's probably it. But yeah. Well, what is it? 9:15. Have we said it all? Jason, will you show what you're, well, I guess we can see it. I guess Gabe, what Jason looks like he switched drawings on me in the middle. You want to check out?
I did. I figured this would be a good time to go through and work on a little bit of this color palette that I have for rather large painting commission that I got commissioned for. So we're doing like some Art Nouveau peonies, and I'm just kind of going through, playing around with color palettes and seeing what I like. I'm probably going to keep to a very very washed out kind of neutral, almost pastel kind of tone.
I like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's lovely.
It's going to be huge, so it's going to be a daunting task, but I'll pull through.
Yeah, I love, I don't do it very often, but I love using like really saturated bright background colors with muted earthy tones in the foreground elements. That all the neo-traditional folks are doing that a lot, where they'll have like some brown and gray wolf in the foreground with like a glowing orange behind it or something. It's a cool look.
Right.
Yeah.
All the yellow spots that you see like up here at the corners in the middle, these little like arrow points, and then this big disc in the background. I'm actually thinking I might just do that in metallic gold.
Oh yeah.
Help set that off a little bit and separate that out from everything else.
Yeah. Do you ever do gold leaf, any of you guys?
Sometimes.
No,
I've never used it.
seen it. I just feel like it's something that like special, super accomplished artists do. It's like safe for the special guys. Like Jason.
Yeah. I've never used it either. I see people using it a lot. I love watching. It's mesmerizing to watch people place it and then brush it off or whatever. Do you guys follow Brad Kunkel? Do you know him? Kunkle. He's I learned about him through Casey Ball. They're like BFFs. They work together or paint together a lot. But Brad does like large scale. He's a painter, not a tattooer. But he does large scale kind of somewhat abstract but figurative stuff as well, and uses so much gold leaf. It's really cool work. You should look him up. Brad Kunkel, Kunkle. He has an Instagram. It's good.
It looks like it's really a really hard thing to handle. Like when I see people placing it, like they've got tweezers and the brush, and like you can see like every little bit of error is just affecting like
Yeah.
how it moves and stuff. And I just know how much I struggle with plastic wrap every day trying to wrap my stuff up at work. So
Yeah.
it's kind of
Yeah.
intimidating.
Right.
And then I guess because too, I feel like it's kind of like a special thing. You
Yeah.
know, I always like, I'm like, it needs to go on, you know, a special piece or a special painting. But I guess
Yeah.
kind of subconsciously just kind of psyching yourself out and stuff like that. But
Right.
yeah, I think
Right.
it's really cool. I think I was following, I don't remember, I follow a lot of people from Unkindness. I don't know
Yeah.
if it was like Teresa Sharp or I never know people's real names. I was just off their Instagram handle. There
Aaron
was another girl
Chance, I
called
think it's
Vitriol. Yeah, Erin Chance, and
Uh,
there was another girl who goes under the handle of Vitriol, I think. She's
oh
really
yeah.
cool.
I don't know her name,
And
but I know who you're
it
talking
might have
about.
been some of them, but they were using a lot of gold leaf, and it just looks so cool
Yeah.
once you like get it brushed on there and stuff.
Yeah. Did you see that stuff that Gabe was just showing of Brad's? It's so good, man. It's like
Yeah, I'm gonna have to.
yeah,
You know
look.
what? From
There you go.
between
Here
Tattoo
it
Now
is.
and Fireside,
There
all
it
the
is.
artists that they're just, it's crazy. My feed is just filled
Look at
up
that
with
piece.
these artists.
Yeah, yeah. Me too. Yeah, see, this is, I don't know if this one has gold leaf in it or not, but he'll do that in those little like break off leaf things. He'll do a
Yeah.
lot of gold leaf and stuff in them. And they're big. Most of his paintings are really big.
Yeah, I love that. That is super cool.
See, I bet that silver is like silver leaf, don't you think? Maybe-
It looks
Silver
like it.
leaf, yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It says it is.
Yeah,
And he does
Yeah.
a great job just not like saturating the entire piece with it.
yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. And I love just his color palette in general. It's so
Mhm.
muted. Like I said, he's got all
Silver.
these abstract. Yeah, silver. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never met him. I know he's New York based.
So these are the gold leaf.
Yeah.
The
Literally
leafs are
gold
leaves.
very,
Right.
once you get the hang of it and you learn the little tricks to it, it's actually very easy to apply.
Really.
There's a little bit of and there's a lot of different techniques. One technique that you can use is it's like this very light glue base that you will put down only where you want the gold leaf to stick to.
Mm.
And that's why you see these guys just throw up a big old square of like gold leaf and
Yeah.
then brush away all the excess, and it's perfectly exactly where it is.
Right. And look at that
That's
piece.
exactly
Yeah.
what they do. They just lay this glue down in exactly the area where they want that gold leaf,
Hmm.
throw the whole piece over top of it, and then brush away anything that's not being held down by the glue.
Yeah. Yeah. What is this, a
It's
video
actually
game?
fairly easy.
Yeah, is it playing?
No, it's not playing. It's just still.
Oh shit!
I'm trying to click on it like I'm gonna play it.
It's playing now.
Yeah, see, it's all pretty big work.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, this painting that I'm getting together is gonna make those look small.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ooh, it's ambitious.
What size are you doing it at? Do you know yet, or you just know it's going to be big?
Yeah, I'm gonna end up doing it at 3x6.
Yeah,
Yeah.
be a nice size.
Yeah, it's like the size of a door.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah,
What?
that's a lot.
How long do you think it'll? If you painted that size before, though, I've seen some of your paintings. That
Oh,
are
yeah.
pretty big.
Yeah,
You moved.
I've painted this and bigger before.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to take me a few months. My goal is to have it done by the end of the summer.
Yeah. Sweet.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, all right. I'm gonna jump off here and get ready for my
Okay.
vaccine.
I
Well,
probably ought to get going here too.
yeah,
And,
yeah.
and then Jake, real quick, do you have any plans to travel that after
what-
you're vaccinated, or what's coming up?
I don't have anything for the spring or early summer. The only thing I know of is whatever you invited me to, I'm doing.
Cheers, thank you. That's October 3rd to the 6th.
3rd to the 6th, and that's that's the thing at Jiminy Peak.
Yeah, Paradise BYOB. Bring your own. Let's see, brushes, brains,
Yeah,
beets, bud, beer, booze, or berries.
that
if you're
sounds
vegan.
perfect. I'm gonna bring berries. Yeah, that sounds great. And what's the thing that you've mentioned a couple of times, and I don't know who to reach out to, but what's happening in Brussels?
Yeah, the Brussels Tattoo Convention. Kim is his name. I could send you over his contact info, or you could probably just email him through the website. That's the 12th to the 14th, and then the 2 days before that is trade show, I believe. So I mean, I think he's just got to get together the last couple of suppliers, but the 12th to the 14th, yeah. And then we're doing. Let's see. So Baxter's coming over, Ivana's coming over. We're all going to do seminars.
Sweet.
And we'll probably do either a drink and draw or a painting jam, or we'll do some of these things beaming in over the stage, or hopefully the stage. If not, like basically the biggest screen we could project on and the loudest speakers we could blast out on. We'll do something.
Sweet. I wonder if they'd let me podcast there.
I can't speak for him clearly,
doing it.
but
you are. Yeah.
Come on
Sweet.
over, man.
I'm gonna reach out. Is that the same month as yours?
No, it's the month after. That's it's like literally like 1 month after. So or a month and change. Like 6 weeks or 5. I don't know, 5 or 6 weeks.
Yeah. That's all that I know for sure is your paradise, and that I definitely want to reach out. I haven't done a European anything in several years now, so I'd like to do that. But other than that, I don't think there's really much over the summer. Normally the summer shows that I don't do a lot in the summer anyways. The first summer show that I do is at the end of the summer, the Hell City Phoenix. But has Dirk canceled those for the full year?
Yeah, no, that's all 2022.
Yeah.
That's next year, right? This is 2021. Yeah, that's all 2022.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I don't really have much traveling. I'm going to work on stuff around here. But
awesome. Well, I might swing through on my way to hyperspace. I need to figure out my final travel plans.
Yeah. Let me know. I wouldn't mind making the drive with you. Maybe I can go up and
awesome.
Sweet.
That's fun. Okay,
cool,
well,
everyone.
I'll catch up soon. Everyone, now's the time to wait.